Alright, so here we are at my buddy Aaron's house. We're October 22nd, getting ready to head up north to actually fish Lac Ouareau for some giant fall smallmouth. Due to the fact that we fished the not so polluted but species polluted waters of the St. Lawrence River, full of zebra mussels, gobies, and all sorts of other lovely creatures, I'm taking a minute to spray the boat to stop the spread of invasive species throughout Quebec and all of Canada. So, trick is you want to get all of the weeds and all of the almost vegetation off things like your bunks over here. As you can see, there's weeds hanging off. They can hold larvae of zebra mussels. If you take a look at the light over there, you got more weeds. So the trick is you got to get under the boat, get into the live wells, and spray the crap out of it. So that's what we're going to do. We got a pressure washer here, and then always good to put some form of an agent in your live well to make sure that there's nothing sitting in the live well because it holds a lot of humidity and moisture, and you should be good to go. Alright everybody, so Lac Ouareau is now in the books. Unfortunately, fishing didn't go nearly as planned. It was really tough. I actually didn't catch any fish. I think one thing everybody will appreciate with the MTL Bass Pros website is that we're dead honest with every detail when it comes to fishing. So when fishing is good, you guys see what we're using and how we're fishing them. When fishing's bad, at least I try to analyze how the day or days went wrong, and then we try to kind of fix our errors from there. So for starters, what happened was we launched on Saturday morning at about 9:30. We were facing like 20-25 km/h wind, northwest winds, and with the wind chill it was like -6 or -7. So in our defense, it was really nasty. I mean, the wind was blowing really hard. Pretty much the majority of the lake. I'll get back to the map in a second, but I'll show you guys how the map is made. Lac Ouareau is kind of in a shape of a heart, and as you can see, the offshore structures are everywhere. It has a river flowing in and has a river flowing out, and then there's a bay at the back of the lake. So basically, the wind was blowing down this way. So the only thing that was not really in the wind was this bay here, which doesn't really have much offshore structures. So what actually happened was we launched in the morning, and we decided to head out to one of the main points, which I'll show you in a second on the map. And right away the wind was blowing in so hard that we ended up having to stick to that side of the bay. Now the line guides were freezing up. We had ice on them. It was like absolutely horrible. Now before I get into the actual map, the lake is gorgeous. I found offshore schools of bait fish, arches through them, and just tried to drift them. The wind was blowing so hard. I fished for like 4 or 5 hours. I got off the lake, I packed it up. We didn't even fish today, it was so cold. So at the end of the day, it's a lake that I have to go back to. I heard from a friend of mine, Randolph, told me that back in the mid-90s, Lac Ouareau and Lac Ouareau in the St. Donat area had a lot of Quebec Bassmaster or Canadian Tire Bassmaster. I'm not really sure what the name was, a little bit before my time, but had some tournaments out there, and there was some really good fish caught. So I'm dying to get back out there. Now I'll show you guys the lake. We launched over here at the northern end of Lac Ouareau, and obviously the first thing that stuck out is smallmouth will generally move to deeper water as the water temperatures drop. I didn't even tell you guys what the water temperatures were, but they were at like 40-41 degrees when we put the boat in. I was told by my fiance's parents that last week the water temperatures dropped ridiculously. I'm sorry, not the water temperatures, the air temperatures dropped ridiculously. You had a pretty mild September. Second you got into October, the weather went actually down like crazy. So at the end of it, I decided to start off by fishing one of the main lake points. This is like one of the most beautiful points I've ever seen. We're used to fishing the St. Lawrence River. So we came out and we actually got onto this main point. Now as you can see, it's surrounded by some pretty deep water. On my Humminbird unit, I have a Navionic Hot Maps card that has like full detail of the lake, so you can actually see all the contour lines as you work off gradually. So we got onto the main point right away. Northwest wind was blowing in like crazy. We were getting gusted with 20-25 km/h winds. So we stayed on the actual main point, and right away we kept on getting pushed off. Now what we were noticing was that the point itself had crazy boulders all over it, which I can't wait to get back in the summertime. Top water, tube jigs. I was actually throwing tubes on it, but when we fell off into 45 feet of water, there was balls of bait. tried to stay on them, couldn't get it to bite. As you guys can see over here, all of these islands have major reefs and offshore points with deep holes. So I tried to come over here and fish the lip of this, dragging tubes, once again, getting blown around, and not just blown around in 20k wind, getting blown around in -5 to -7 degree temperature was just a little too much to handle. Especially, it's kind of stupid on my part. I wasn't fully dressed for it, so I should have been a little more prepared. I won't take too much time explaining it, but in a nutshell, we worked all the main drop-offs in the lake. If I were to come back and do it again, hopefully a little bit nicer conditions, I would really work the main drop-offs on all these points, all where these points lead off into deep water. These smallmouths will kind of live on these islands, spawn on these shorelines, live on these islands in the summer. Obviously, this is my theory. It works for me on other bodies of water. Is there another pattern that could have worked? I'm sure, because we didn't catch anything. But I would have really liked to stick on all of these drop-offs, start up shallow, work deep, drop shots, tube jigs, and just cover all of these main structures that you could see. This lake is absolutely gorgeous. I cannot wait to get back here in the summer. I can't imagine the crankbait, spinnerbait, topwater, tube jig bite that must be around these islands and all these offshore reefs. Not even talking about these rivers that dump in and dump out. It's actually a musky lake too, so any musky guys watching this, I've heard there's been some really big fish caught up here. So at the end of the day, fishing was really tough. Sorry for the last couple weeks. There hasn't really been any updates. Been a little crazy. I'm expecting a little baby boy coming up in first to second week of November. So I've been doing a lot of getting ready for that. Next weekend there's supposed to be a ripple tournament on Lake St. Francis, which I might be doing as long as the baby call doesn't come. So we're gonna keep you guys posted throughout the winter. There's gonna be a ton of videos on gear preparation, knots, lines, lures, new techniques, tricks, baits coming out. So stay posted. I'm actually going to be doing a segment on sponsorship videos as well, which a lot of you guys, if you're getting into it, we actually, myself, collected quite a few kind of pretty good sponsors this year, and I did it in a little bit of a different way. I mean, a lot of sponsors in Quebec are hard to get in Ontario. A lot of them are bait companies, which are great to have, but at a certain point, how much bait do you really need? Money obviously talks, pays for tournaments, pays for gas. So I'm going to cut this video now. It might be getting a little long, but at the throughout the winter, like I said, stay posted. There's going to be a lot of great videos coming up, and I hope you guys are enjoying it.